Hello and welcome back to CELTA Unlocked preparation course. In this session, we are focusing on productive skills, speaking and writing, and how to plan them in a way that's clear, structured, and manageable. Alright, let's move into productive skills. Up to now, we have been working with reading and listening skills where the input is controlled. There is a text, there is an audio, so speaking and writing feel different. Once students start producing language, you don't control the output in the same way. And this is usually where CELTA trainees start to feel a bit exposed. With speaking, students say unpredictable things. With writing, everyone is working quietly at different speeds, and you are trying to support without interfering. If that feels uncomfortable, that's completely normal. What matters is this. Productive skills are not unstructured. They only feel that way at first. There is a clear methodology underneath both speaking and writing. And once you plan with that structure in mind, these lessons stop feeling like a gamble. So by the end of this lesson, you should feel much clearer about how to plan speaking and writing lessons. So, and also what support to build in, where to step back, and how to avoid the mistakes that cost marks in teaching practice. So everything starts with one key decision you make before the lesson even starts. Here. Every productive skills lessons sit somewhere on a spectrum. On one end of that spectrum is accuracy. On the other end is fluency. So a lot of CELTA issues come from not being clear about which one you are focusing on. So accuracy is about correctness, grammar accuracy, vocabulary choice, and pronunciation. Fluency is about flow, keeping communication going, getting meaning across without stopping every single second. So neither one is better than the other. They just train different things. So here where trainees often lose marks always. Students are doing a fluency activity, a discussion, a role play, and the teacher corrects every small error as it happens. What happens next is predictable. Students slow down, they hesitate, some stop speaking altogether. So the rule is simple. Decide your dominant aim first. If the focus is accuracy, correcting in the moment makes sense. If the focus is fluency, don't interrupt for minor errors. Listen, take notes, deal with language during the feedback. This distinction should be visible in your lesson plan, and it's something CELTA tutors pay close attention to. So once that decision is clear, you need a structure that supports learners when they actually speak. This is where the speaking lessons framework comes in. If you have ever set up a speaking task and been met with silence, it's usually not because students are unwilling, it's because they don't know what to say or how to say it. So the framework solves that problem. It begins with a lead-in, just enough to activate the topic and get learners thinking, activate the schemata. Then you give them something to work with, useful language, a model, an example of what successful output looks like. After that comes planning time. This stage is crucial, and it's the one trainees skip most often. Students need time to think before they speak. Students need time before they speak, right? You're gonna study this on Delta course. Even a couple of minutes makes a noticeable difference. Then comes the speaking task itself. Pairs or groups. This is where students do the work. Your role is only to monitor and listen. Go around the class and monitor. Step back. Just go far away from students. Don't intervene. Don't push yourself and you make them feel worried, anxious. They're gonna stop. They're gonna stop talking. Sure. So please just step back and monitor from behind, from far away, a little bit from students, so don't make them feel embarrassed. Okay? Don't dominate. And finally, feedback. You start with the content, what they talked about, then you focus on language. Good phrases you heard and a small number of errors worth addressing together. You must take notes when you monitor. You must listen, see, look, have a look if they are writing. But now listen carefully and write down their good language or some minor errors, just to address on the feedback stage. Good. This sequence stays consistent. Different topics, different levels, same logic. When you plan this way, you dramatically reduce silence and confusion for your students and for yourself. Let me show you what this looks like in a real lesson example. Here we have an example, B1 example. This is a concrete example, speaking lesson. Imagine a B1 class. The topic is opinions about mobile apps. You don't start by asking them, hey, okay, discuss technology. That's too abstract. You anchor the topic in something real, contextualize, personalize the topic. Okay. For example, an app they usually use. So you show a couple of app icons in Instagram, TikTok, something familiar. You ask some simple questions. Do you use this app? Do you like it or not? So at this, that's just to activate their mind, activate the thinking, activate the schemata, activate their knowledge. Okay. At this point, students have opinions, but not necessarily the language to express them clearly. Speaking is number one fear. So you have to prepare them for the speaking, not from the first time you ask them for production. So before you ask them to speak at length, you give them something to lean on. You put a few opinion phrases on the board, starters, phrases, opinions, not a long list, just enough. For example, I have mixed feelings about from my point of view. So the main issue is so you draw attention to them, you make sure learners notice them, then you pause. This is where a planning comes in. You give them a prompt. Choose one app you feel strongly about. write down two reasons why. So you give them a couple of minutes, quiet thinking time. When students start speaking, they are not searching for ideas and language at the same time. This is what we call cognitive load. And our job is to facilitate and make it like easier for them, lower anxiety. We lower the affective filter, Krashan's theory. We lower the affective filter as maximum, and we reduce the cognitive load, only give one task at a time. Okay? So after that, it comes the speaking task itself. So pairs or small groups, 8 to 10 minutes. Your job here is to listen, monitor, listen. You're collecting real language, good phrases, and a few errors to work on later. When the task ends, you don't just move on. When the task ends, you don't just move on. You start with content. What did your partner say? Did anyone hear an opinion they disagreed with? Then you shift to language. You highlight strong phrases and deal with 2 or 3 common errors together. So you must listen to your students, not just do the task and move on. You must pick up some useful language usage, some errors. You must listen to their opinions. That's communicative approach. Never tick the task and move on. That full sequence, leading, language support, planning, speaking, feedback. This sequence is what makes the task work. All right? So now if we flip this around, you can see where speaker listens usually break down. Let's move on to this slide, common speaking TPs, failures. This is where many CELTA students or many CELTA speaker listens go wrong. The first issue is no model. Students are asked to speak, but they haven't seen what good output looks like. So they either stay silent or fall back on very basic language. So the fix is simple. Show them something. Show them some useful phrases. Short example. Even a quick teacher demonstration does work. It's perfect. So the second issue is skipping planning. Students are asked to speak immediately. No thinking time. This is very bad. They must have a planning time, thinking time before we ask them for production. And you are going to study this on the Delta course. The result is predictable when you do this. Short answers, long pauses, weak interaction. So better to have 2 minutes of planning time, and this will absolutely change the quality of output dramatically. Another common problem is vague task design. For example, talk about technology. That's not really a task. A task needs an outcome. For example, rank something, agree or disagree, make a decision. So when the task is clear, interaction improves immediately. Then the teacher dominating talk. All right, the task is set and the teacher keeps talking. Instructions get longer and longer. Students barely get to speak. You listen, you speak, you give instructions, you interrupt students, then students barely get to speak. So once the task is clear, step back and let it run. Okay? once the task is clear, step back and let it run. Don't interrupt and don't always give instructions for a long time. Finally, feedback. The speaking task ends and the listen moves on. You finish the task and you move on to another task. Stop. No content focus. No content focus, no language focus, no evidence you were listening. So from CELTA point of view, that's a missed opportunity. Here where the learning happens in this stage, when you listen and when you listen to your students, to their output, to their creativity, and when they listen to each other's work. Here where we said the learning happens. Not you tick the task, okay, you tick the box. Done, then you move on. This is not communicative approach. And on CELTA we are adopting the communicative approach. We give maximum time to students to speak, to produce the language. Now you give them the task. They did the task. Then they have to produce the language. They have to apply what they have studied, not to move on to another task again. All right? Good? Nice. So, yeah, we said writing lessons fail for similar reasons, but the process looks a little bit different. Let's move on to this slide where we are going to talk about the writing, the process approach. All right, good. So writing lessons often look calmer on the surface. Students are quiet, they are working individually, very calm, silence dominating the class, the room. But cognitively, writing is demanding. Okay? Cognitively, writing is demanding. Students are thinking about the idea, the structure, the grammar, accuracy, all at the same time. Okay? All of these. That's why writing lessons follow a process. The principle is simple. Support comes before production. You start by setting the context, something learners can relate to. For example, an informal email about a weekend. Any example that can activate their schemata? Okay, you don't just jump straight into writing. You activate the topic first. A quick chat. What did you do last weekend? Then you show them a model, a short, level-appropriate text. Learners need to see what good writing looks like for the text. When we studied the CELTA, we did the same. We showed students examples, models of the text, right? Why? Because they learn from the structure, they learn from the vocabulary, they learn from the linking words, etc. So you have to give them model phrases, linking words, give them a model text. Good? Nice. After that, you focus on language, useful phrases, organization, things they can reuse. Then comes planning before anyone writes. All right? Before anyone writes, students need to organize their ideas. They need time to plan. Like same as speaking, same as writing. They have to have time to plan. So only after that, they move into the writing stage itself. Good? While they write, you monitor again. You monitor lightly, all right? You monitor tightly behind students. Give them 1 meter and just you look and you can see everything, but don't go like very next to them or near. Then you make them feel worried and anxious, and they will stop writing and will stop speaking because you are interrupting them. Good. So just monitor lightly. You only help where needed. You are here, available to them, available when they need. But you don't take control of anything, the text or anything. So yeah. So finally, feedback. You focus first on content. Did they complete the task? Then on a small number of language issues that are worth addressing together on the feedback stage. All right. So this section, or sequence, makes writing manageable instead of overwhelming. Good. Awesome. Now let's look at the most common writing pitfalls and how to avoid them. Okay, here we have some common writing pitfalls. The most common one is no model. Learners are asked to write an email or a letter without ever seeing one at that level. So they just guess. Or they copy L1 patterns or they freeze. From a CELTA perspective, this is an easy fix. Always show before you ask. Another issue is abstract tasks, abstract topics. Write, for example, you tell them, write about your dreams or technology, as we talked about. It sounds creative, but it's very hard to support. Concrete tasks work better. Clear audience, clear purpose, clear content points. Then there is over correction. Every error here is marked. Pages covered in red ink. You just tick, 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 and you correct everything. That looks thorough, but it's rarely helpful. CELTA tutors expect prioritization, not perfection. All right? Okay? So skipping planning is another issue. Students go straight from instruction to writing. As I told you, we need to prepare them for production. So thinking, processing before production. Here, if you do this, you go straight to production, quality drops immediately, and students feel useless because they don't have the tools. You didn't prepare them for the production. And finally, feedback disappears. The absence of feedback. You finish the task, the writing ends, time runs out, and the lesson moves on to another, the task moves to another task. You finish the task, you move to another task without giving value to their output. You have to listen to their output, to their creativity, as we talked about. So never move to another task unless you get feedback. You listen to whole class and they listen to each other's work outputs. All right, good. So as we said, here where is the learning, or where the learning happens. And from the CELTA point of view, this is a missed opportunity, a missed learning opportunity. Okay, good. So once those pitfalls are fixed, there is one more thing that really strengthens writing lessons. It's here, from controlled to freer writing. That's where progression comes in. Writing practice works best when it moves from controlled to freer use, to freer practice. At the controlled end, learners work with tight support, gap fills, sentence completion, reordering parts of a model text. Here the focus is on accuracy. Then support loosens slightly. You give them independence. Guided writing, for example, sentence starters, writing frames, all these will help learners to prepare for the production stage, freer practice. Okay? Here learners still have help, but they are making more choices. You give them a little independence, but still they are under control. Finally, freer practice, freer writing, an email, a short paragraph, a real communicative task. Here the focus shifts away from perfect accuracy and towards successful communication. We prepare them, we give them phrases, starters, gap fills, drills, mechanical exercises, step by step, and we give them more choices than after we give them full independence. But we are still there for help, all right? We are still there here. We are still here available for them. So the key is the movement. You don't ask learners to write freely before they have had support and all these the material you shared with them, the sentences, phrases. We call them tools. Let's call them tools. And you don't keep them controlled when they are ready to produce. You move slightly from controlled practice to freer practice. So from a CELTA point of view, this progression should be visible in your plan. One stage prepares the next. One stage prepares the next. I do this. Why I do this? Why I do these exercises? I added these exercises to prepare them, to give them the tools, to give them the weapons to tackle the freer practice. Okay, so your job here is to facilitate. You are a facilitator in the communicative approach. Good. Now let's consolidate everything with a final checklist and the resources you will use for planning. The slide number 10. Here we have, before we move on, let's pause and consolidate everything as we said. At this stage of CELTA, it can feel like there is a lot to remember. So this isn't new theory. It's a simple checklist you can use when planning. If any of these are missing, productive skills lessons usually weaken. So first, and clear task purpose. If students don't understand why they are doing an activity, engagement drops. They follow instructions, but the task doesn't really go anywhere. Second, missing support or planning. It's a crucial step. Students are expected to produce language without being given the tools to do this. That's when silence appears or output stays very limited. Third, teacher talk, talking over. Teacher talk, taking over. Teaching talking time is maximized. The task is set, but the teacher keeps explaining, keeps giving instructions. Instructions get longer and longer. Students' talking time gets shorter. Fourth, overcorrecting during fluency work. Your main target is fluency, but you correct everything which is not aligned with your aims, your goals. Good. So the activity is meant to build confidence and flow, but constant interruption does the opposite. So don't do it. Don't overcorrect, and also don't overtalk. Feedback, correction. The activity here ends, but nothing is done with what students produced. No content, as we said, focus. No language focus, and you just move on to the next task, which is not good. You must stay here. You must stop here. Give time to students. Listen to their their activity, creativity. All right, their output, their production. Good. So listen first. Give them time. Appreciate their output. Sixth, level mismatch, or sixth level inappropriate complexity, or a level mismatch. The task maybe is too demanding or too simple for the learners to do. So you have to balance. Not too demanding, not too difficult, and not too simple. Finally, timing issues. Too much time on the leading, not good. Not good to give too much time on the leading, like 10 minutes or 7 minutes or 6 minutes. The leading should be 2 minutes, 3 minutes. 2 minutes, 3 minutes. That's all. It's because it's just activating their schemata. It's just to trigger their interest. And you don't give enough time for the actual speaking or writing. So here is a fail, right? You give more time to leading, which is not important, and you give less time to the actual speaking or writing. Okay? So if you use this list as a quick check while planning or right before you teach, you catch most problems early, and you can adapt and you can adjust. Now, knowing all of this is useful, but applying it and the pressure is the real challenge. Good? Now let's move to the planning and resources. This is where the resources come in, actually. You will have a set of templates designed to reduce planning load and keep your lessons aligned with CELTA expectations. There is a speaker lesson skeleton, the full 5-stage framework laid out clearly. You're not inventing structure, but you are filling in content. There's also a writing lesson template, 6 stages, with prompts and timing suggestions to help you balance support and production. You will have a bank of ready-to-use speaking tasks as well, different levels and clear outcomes, and a small set of writing tasks, emails, short texts, structured prompts designed to be adapted and not memorized. The workflow is very simple. before teaching practice. Draft one speaking listen and one writing listen using the templates. Check them against the checklist from the previous slide I showed you. Adjust where needed. So when the structure becomes familiar, you are no longer guessing under pressure. Your attention is free to focus on delivery, not survival. Because on the CELTA course, it's really hard. You have lots of factors, lots of stress around you, and you're gonna get panicked and frustrated, so it's not good for you. Better to prepare beforehand. You have the checklist, and you check them against check your lesson plans against the checklist, then you're good to go. So let's finish by looking ahead to what comes next and what I want you to practice before module 6. Good? Good. As we move toward the end of this module 5, I want to zoom out for a moment. Up to now, we have focused a lot on structure, frameworks, stages, planning, feedback. In module 6, the focus shifts slightly. The structure stays the same, but the conditions change. Because teaching practice never happens in ideal circumstances. You are managing time, you are responding to students. Sometimes activities don't work the way you expected. So module 6 is about execution. We will look at realistic timing, how to pace a lesson so it doesn't rush and doesn't drag. We will talk about contingency planning, what to do if students finish early, what to do if they need more time, what to do when something unexpected happens. We will also work on handling emergent problems calmly, not panicking, not overcorrecting, just responding professionally in the moment. And finally, we will focus on tutor feedback, how to listen to it, how to process it, and how to use it to improve your next lesson. The aim of module 6 is simple: to help you teach more calmly under pressure. Good? Nice. So before we finish, there is one more thing that really matters for productive skills lessons. I want to pause for a moment and think about what learners experience. Speaking and writing are both, as you know, productive skills, but they change learners in challenge learners in very different ways. So speaking is immediate. No time. Learners have to process language in real time. There is performance pressure, and if they make a mistake, everyone hears it. There's no back in the time. There is no pause button, no backspace key. That creates an anxiety, especially at lower levels. So writing is a bit different. Learners have more time, but every word is visible. They reread, they hesitate, they worry about correctness. So understanding these differences matters because it affects how you design lessons. If you know speaking creates pressure, sure, you will build in planning time. You won't expect perfect outcome, perfect output. You will create a safer space for risk taking. And if you know writing feels exposing, you will provide clear models. You will scaffold the task carefully, and you will focus feedback on what matters most. So good lesson design isn't just technical, it's responsive as well. And that awareness is what moves you from competent teaching to confident teaching. So good. So with that in mind, let's look at the task I want you to work on before module 6. You just need to think about it, okay? And you do the task if you have time. Here is what I want you to practice before module 6. You choose one area of language that you might realistically teach on teaching practice. It could be a grammar point. It could be a grammar point. It could be a functional area, something appropriate for your learners. Then design 2 connected activities. First, a controlled activity, something that supports accuracy, clear structure, limited output. Then design a freer task, a speaking or writing activity where learners use that language to communicate. The aim isn't perfection, okay? The aim is to practice the progression from support to independence. If you can plan that journey clearly on paper, so delivering this lesson in the classroom becomes much easier. So use the templates you have. Draft 1 speaker lesson, draft 1 writing lesson, check them against the checklist we discussed earlier. Adjust where needed, and you are good to go. So by the time you reach module 6, you won't be guessing. You will be working from patterns to you already trust, and that's what allows you to teach more calmly, even under pressure. This is the end of module 5. I will see you in the module 6, guys. I really enjoyed this journey. It's really amazing, and I'm also learning new things each time I make videos and each time we meet. Thank you so much, guys. See you in the next video. Goodbye.